Three, two, one. It's Gaetano here, founder of Early Period. We help businesses to get more business through word of mouth marketing. But today, we're not going to talk about referrals. We're going to talk about a really special subject close to my heart. It's about getting speaking gigs and tapping into audiences of other influential person in your industry. How you can do it, how you can get speaking gigs, and how you can build your authority by doing speaking gigs. Today with me, I have the pleasure of having someone who's an expert in this area. It's Bri Williams. I would like to welcome you, Bri. How are you doing today?
Great today. Thanks for having me here.
It's a pleasure to have you over. So I know you have tips for our audience about speaking, but first of all, I would like you to tell us a little bit more about who's Bri and how do you engage with your clients and how do you help them when it comes to speaking gigs?
Well, I guess as of today, I help experts launch their speaking businesses or grow their speaking businesses so they can get paid for speaking gigs and get paid more dollars. Oftentimes, when people start out, they ask for nothing or very little for paid speaking engagements. And of course, there's people that also use speaking to market their business. They're not looking to be paid, but they simply want to get the word out there about their business and leverage other people's audiences. And of course, there's the group as well that sell from the stage. So they utilize speaking in challenges, webinars, masterminds, that sort of thing, where they get the opportunity to make an offer at the end of that. And of course, when you look at all of those things, you know, I didn't start out doing this. In fact, when I started out, I studied counseling, I studied HR, and I was very much about the kind of workplace environment. So I've grown up, if you like, in a corporate environment where I was looking at career conversations, meetings, presentations, and then it kind of graduated into helping the subject matter experts within the business that needed to go to external events that had high stakes meetings that they really couldn't mess up, right? So I still speak to that audience. I am a corporate speaker, but I absolutely love helping the entrepreneurial folks, the experts in that world as well, because I know it from my own experience. When we moved here from London, I thought I was bringing a job over here, best laid plans and all of that. It didn't work out. So I started my business while we were over here, and I had to overcome a lot of the same things that many of my clients now do, which is first things first, camera confidence. Do I actually have to put myself out there? And that kind of vulnerability that a lot of people feel with that level of visibility, like what are my ex-colleagues going to think? What are my family and my friends going to think? Who do I think I am? You know, showing up and sharing my expertise, you know, in inverted commas. And so it started out with camera confidence, and it moved into what is actually quite a natural area for me, which is the learning and the development that you can offer folks from the stage. I absolutely love utilizing speaking and helping my clients utilize speaking, because we just get to know you and your expertise so much more quickly. And also this whole, like, is this person for me or not? I feel like it cuts that journey down really quickly, because you can get a sense so clearly of who Gaetano is on the stage, the expertise that you bring, how you handle Q&A, you know, and the discussion that you can get into really shows how you help other people. So I think it's one of the most effective ways to put your business out there as well.
That's true. That's true. Being a people's person, I consider myself like enjoying meeting new people. I think it's the perk of having a business. It's actually to get to know new people coming from all walks of life. But for those who maybe they are a little bit more introvert, what are the main challenges that these people, they first have to face? So if I am a business owner and I would like to, you know, get myself across, deliver value through speaking, if I had to ask you for what are going to be the roadblocks, so to speak, in order to get there, how do you recommend to get there? What are the challenges that, you know, someone who wants to go into speaking, maybe to tap into other people's audience, or maybe even to get paid for speaking. What are the main challenges that these aspiring speakers they are going to face?
I think the two things that I would focus on are the fact that a lot of people experience the imposter syndrome, the fear, the nerves. Like if we just address the physical state of putting yourself out there as a speaker, you know, it's completely biological to have this fight or flight response to speaking up and speaking out. And that really does happen for everyone forever to a certain extent. Even before I sit down and turn the light on and speak, you know, I still sit there and think, I'm excited about this. And that feeling that I feel right now is me wanting to do a good job. Like the feeling of excitement and the feeling of fear are actually quite similar in a lot of ways. And I now recognize it as excitement because I've done it so many times. But for so many people, you don't, when you're just starting out, you haven't got the reps in, you haven't had the repetition, haven't yet trained that confidence muscle to know what that internal state is that you're feeling. So that's the first thing I'd look at.
I think that's very comforting, knowing that someone who has delivered several speaking gigs and they tell you, listen, it also happens to me. So that's very comforting for someone who's gonna, you know, switch on their camera for the first time and record even a simple like message. That's very comforting, knowing that even experts, you know, they get that, I'm excited and I'm going in front of a camera. That's very, very, very comforting to hear.
The second thing that I'd mention is that sometimes I work with people who have speaking confidence already. They don't actually come to me because they don't feel ready to speak, but more they have interest in more engagement. They want to make sure that they're interacting more with their audience and providing a journey perhaps to a sales message or providing a journey through storytelling. You know, everyone has different goals when it comes to why they want to speak. But what I would say is for the folks that really don't, you know, have trouble with speaking nerves, but they want to achieve a specific goal, and that they tend to need to look more at the structure of their message. And so making sure that they have very concise, organized thoughts and that they are clearly expressing those, because if we're talking about virtual communication, we need to get to the point more quickly, typically. Sure. If we're talking about in-person, you still have to engage your audience in the very first moments of your talk in order to bring them along with you and make them care and see that this is actually content that they should be interested in and what's in it for me. They're sitting there thinking, why should I pay attention to this? And as soon as they start to, your audience can hear what's relevant, what's helpful, perhaps a new perspective, feel something, you know, that's really the beginning stages of engagement for your audience and how to get them on your side as a speaker.
I want to get more opportunities, right? I want to get more stages, more opportunities to speak, maybe interviews, maybe participating in virtual events. How can I go about get more opportunities? So it's already overwhelming to, you know, get yourself out there, also optimize your message, be more clear. The next step is, okay, I have all the components, at least I think I'm done with all the components that I can control. How can I get others to give me that opportunity to share the stage with me? Say, hey, Gaetano, come along and let's share your message. How do you normally recommend your clients, the people that you work with, in order to get more opportunities and to get, you know, their speaking gigs booked?
The first thing, you've already kind of mentioned some of it, and that is having a simple, specific and measurable goal. So more opportunities doesn't tell me exactly what stage you want to be on. If you say, I want to make sure I get on 20 podcasts in the first half of the year, that's going to, firstly, just having a more specific and simple goal is going to help you make more progress. And the fact that it's measurable means that you can see where you're up to in that process. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that we want to combine both outreach, so connecting with people, applying for speaking opportunities, although one of those 20 podcasts, and that outreach activity. But we also want to attract opportunities to us as well. And so part of that is being organized in the way that you present yourself as a speaker. And so is it very clear when people look at your online presence that you're a speaker? And is it very clear when you send your marketing assets across your speaker one sheet and, for example, what topics you cover? Because as a host, I'm looking at, does this kind of meet my goals for my event or my platform? And are my audience going to love this? So when you're pitching to someone, you're pitching both the host and their audience. And when you are looking for more opportunities to come to you, it's thinking about, well, if somebody found me online, they're not searching for speaker necessarily. They're searching for an area of expertise. So a really specific tip for your audience is go ahead and use keywords in your social media profiles. Think about it exactly the same way as you would SEO for your website. If someone is looking for a speaker with your area of expertise, will they be able to find you based on the way you position yourself online?
So having your social profile in order is going to have a lot of benefits here. So it's going to have a lot of benefits to generate leads and also to also generate leads for your speaking gigs. That's really, really interesting. Should aspiring speakers focus on, yeah, I want to get paid to speak? Or are there any other ways how you can collaborate with the host? You say one of them, I believe it's putting yourself out there as an authority. From my experience, that was the only way how I did speaking gigs. I never charged for any speaking gigs. It doesn't necessarily I was well optimized. So what in your experience should be the focus? Should it be to get paid, or is it first you start for free and then maybe you build your profile and then eventually start charging? How do you go about, building a profile as a speaker in order to get speaking gigs?
I think that's exactly it. Building the profile means understanding what your starting point is and where you want to go. And if you say to me, well, at the moment, I'm getting paid absolutely nothing as a speaker, but I want to be paid $5,000 per gig, that's not going to happen overnight, right? So speaking is a long-term commitment in terms of building up your profile, and it doesn't have to take an age to get to 5,000 per gig or 1,000, whatever your goal is. But the fact is, you have to be very focused on what the steps are between here and there. And that includes saying no to opportunities that don't serve your greater vision, that don't meet your immediate goals, but being cognizant that speaking presents different opportunities. Some are more akin to PR, if you like. If Google says, I want you to come and speak for my organization, we're not going to pay you anything, but we are going to blast you on all of our social media. That's probably a good opportunity if you're a brand new speaker, or even if you're an established speaker, it's a household name. If your local library says, we'd love you to come and speak for us and we're not going to pay you anything, well, it could still be worth it for the speaker who wants to try new material, who wants to get experience standing up in front of a crowd. So it really depends on your starting point. And if you are looking for pure profit, the quickest way to make money speaking is to run your own events, in fact. So if we're looking for speed and money, we're running our own events. If we're looking for, making money, but we've got a bit more time and a bit more of a runway to work up to that, then you're focusing on the paid speaking engagement. So it really, I actually have a matrix that I share with my client where we look at, what's more important right now, payment power or profile power? And then based on that, we work out what the opportunities are that best serve your needs right now, and also when to move on from that. So we don't want to get stuck in this, I'm building my confidence, I'm building my portfolio and getting paid nothing forever. It really has to serve your income and your speaking goals and be part of your overall business strategy.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's say there's a podcast, right? Let's say there's a show that I absolutely love to be on. for various reasons. It might be there's an alignment in the audience. It might be I really like the hosts, whatever. What is the best way from your experience to pitch it? Should I, just send them my sheet, my speaking sheet, maybe with past speaking gigs? What is the best way? Is it to start building a relationship and then eventually down the line, just say, yeah, I'm interested to be on your host? What do you recommend?
So the first thing I'd say is always be connecting. I'm always connecting with hosts of different events and platforms. And I recommend that for anyone that's interested in speaking, always be connecting with hosts. That's the number one thing, because if you're already connected with them, you've already started that relationship building, and you can have conversations that are much more human, relatable before you say, hey, how about you have me as a guest? So always be connecting is the first thing. If we run with the podcast example, the first thing I'd say is hosts who have an interview style format have a problem you can solve. Their ongoing challenge is good content. If you're a great speaker and have something interesting and that serves their audience, think of yourself as a solution rather than a pitch.
This is really interesting. Yeah. Right. Because normally we look at it the other way around, I hope he or she accepts my proposal. When really in truth, you're solving, you're being a solution. Yeah, I love that.
Right? It's shifting a really important shift.
Your mindset. Yes. This I like it.
The second thing I'd say is that some podcasts are already set up with an application process. So don't sweat, writing a perfect email. Go to the podcast. Oftentimes you'll see be a guest, and there'll be an application form, and you just go ahead and submit. And if you are super clear on your application in terms of what topics you can talk about, how you serve their audience, so tailoring that application, and making sure that you have all your marketing assets ready to go. So this isn't like a big deal that takes you all day. It's something that you're going to need for pretty much every speaking application ever, whether it's podcast, summit, a big event. You're going to need who you are, a speaker bio, make it 75 to 100 words, make it good. Make sure you have some headshots, have a couple of go-to topics that you can 80-20. So the core of what you talk about sounds exactly the same in terms of the foundational principles or key points that you're talking about, but you are tailoring examples. You're tailoring the name of an interview, for example, so that it is much more relevant to that audience and for that host. And they're going to ask you things like audience size, email list, size if you've got that, for your social media links. Keep all of these in a file so that applying for things and pitching, if it comes down to sending an email across, is super simple. It doesn't have to actually be a big deal if you're organized about the things that you need to provide every single time to make an impact with what you're sending through.
So there again, we mentioned social media profile. So you're going to need that, and it has to be... Yeah. You have to have that in order, because they are going to look you up and say, yeah, this person, is well versed in the subject, or this person is a mess, there's no experience here. So I'm not interested in getting this person on the show. Yeah, that definitely. Is it an issue if you're still starting out? Maybe you have a very small email list. Is it, from your experience, is it normally like a criteria that you have to have a certain size of an email list? Because obviously most hosts, they are looking to get some kind of reciprocity, right? They are going to say, hey, once your episode is going to go out, we expect you, or at least appreciate if you promote it to your list.
Yeah, so the first thing I'd say is good content, and great content is the most important thing to your host oftentimes. But what I will say is, specifically for summits, they're very often a long promotional period, and that format, as a speaker, they seem to be much more focused on email list size. But I haven't had that same experience, and quite so much with podcasts, for example, or bigger events. So summits in particular seem to be very obsessed with email list size. And what I would say is, bringing value as the speaker to the audience is the most important thing. And if people don't want you because you don't have 5,000 people on your email list, move on. There are so many speaking opportunities out there that you really don't need to sweat that. Start where you are and build up from there.
Okay. So if you get a no, this is another takeaway. If you get a no, don't sweat it. Move on to the next opportunity. There's a train of opportunities all the time passing by.
There are so many. And the thing is, if it's an absolute dream stage, so your absolute ideal podcast or an event that you just really, really want to get yourself on that event, schedule it. Come back to them when you have grown your email list. You don't have to give up on dream stages. But if it's very much, well, I could be on this podcast or that one, and that one, is being a bit funny about email lists, move on. If it's a dream stage, keep it on your pitch list and come back to them at a later time when you've had a chance to perhaps grow your audience and your influence.
Yeah, take that as a challenge. Set it as a goal. Say, listen, in 6 months' time, I will be ready. I will meet this criteria, and I will get back to you. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Okay, so let's say I've built my confidence. I improved in terms of content. I'm getting a couple of speaking gigs. Maybe some of them they are paid. Most of them they are for free. What, in your opinion, is the main blocking point? So they get to that particular stage in their business, speakers, they get to that point. What is kind of like the next challenge? How can you grow even further than that? How can you scale your speaking business or get more opportunities? What's the next step? For those who are already there, what should they be looking at?
Systems. This is a part of your business that is to be profitable. So what do you do in the rest of your business? You create systems that serve lead generation, that serve sales, so the conversion point, that serve repeat business, reviews, and referrals. So having things in place that will help you beyond that speaking opportunity to turn every gig that you have into more gigs, more sales, more clients. You need a system. And if you have a simple system, then you can see where you're up to in that process. And perhaps you've got loads of proposals out, but you're not actually landing those opportunities. It gives you a clue as to where you need to work on things in your business, right? So it really is important to get a system in place that handles marketing, sales, and operations so that you can treat this as an income stream in your business as opposed to something that happens occasionally and we're not exactly sure how this comes about, right? If you really want to take it from hobby to an income stream, or if you want to take your income as a speaker and go up to the next level, then the opportunities are there in the systems that you create. It's not a super sexy answer, but the fact is, whatever you can measure, you can make decisions around that. You can see where there are blockages, perhaps where you need to learn more. Maybe you don't know as much about contracting, negotiations, setting pricing in a way that really serves you and the knowledge and the value that you're bringing. So that would be my response for those two scenarios that you mentioned.
Yeah, definitely. And there, I believe when you get to that point, apart from setting up systems, which I'm a true believer in that, anything that you want to get things done, you have to break it down into smaller pieces, manageable pieces. So, and that will help you to delegate, will help you to get more things done. You help measure. So out of 100 proposals, I'm getting this much out of the system. I also believe that you need an expert in the area that will help you to refine the different parts of your system. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more for those who are listening or watching this interview. How do you help your clients? So what are the services that you provide in order to help them to get the system in place, constantly refine it? There's a lot of work, a lot of opportunities that they can tap into. How do you help them? Maybe also where they can reach you. and the different services that you provide?
Sure. So if people are looking to grow their speaking businesses, even if you're starting from zero or you've had some experience, but you want to create an on-purpose speaking business or speaking career, and then we focus on 3 phases in 90 days, essentially, to launch your speaking business. And the first one is setting the foundation. So setting the stage around what's your big vision as a speaker and where are you starting? Right now, we set some 12-month goals, a 90-day strategy, and weekly action items come up as we're working through. And basically, this is about what's the stage, so podcast, keynote, corporate training, what's the stage that you're going to focus on that serves your income and your speaking goals? Because like we talked about before, having this simple, specific, measurable goal is going to help you make progress faster, right? 25 podcasts in 6 months or a year, whatever it is a lot more easy to achieve than I'm going to run a challenge and then I'm going to pitch for some corporate work and then maybe I'll do a summit, maybe I'll do a podcast. It's so much harder to do that and see progress, right? And the second thing that we focus on is having a world-class message, something that genuinely stands out. And the way that we look at genuinely truly standing out is getting very specific on what makes the talk and the message that you're sharing unique to you. Oftentimes people forget about half the things that they've done and achieved and the experience that they can bring. So we get really specific around what makes you, the stories that you can share, and also craft that into either a classic keynote or a sell from stage format so that you can use those. They're kind of like Swiss Army knife talks, then a signature talk that you can use in lots of different scenarios. And then the final step is actually setting up your business to get out into the spotlight. So what are the marketing assets, the one sheets, the website, the social media profiles, all of the online presence stuff, and the sales. How are you going to price your talks? What contracts are you going to use? Really specific things that you'll need if you're looking for paid speaking, but also all the marketing assets for pitching these dream stages. And then we get this lead generation system going. So it's really about getting the wheels turning around each of the pieces that you need to consistently find speaking opportunities. And then beyond that, how do you turn every speaking opportunity into more sales, more gigs, more clients, depending on what we were talking about before, that payment power or that profile power that you're looking for from speaking. And within 90 days you can set all of those pieces up, and then over the next 9 months we essentially work on refining all of those pieces. You might create new talks, you might create talking points for your podcast interviews from that signature talk, and essentially just really bedding it in your business, measuring, tweaking, all of the things that you already do within your business and treating it as the profitable income stream that it actually can be for you.
Yeah, there's a lot that you can do in order to refine that system, and an expert will definitely help you in order to get this going and be accountable. That's really important, because a lot of people, they get way too excited. Yes, I want to speak. I want to get more opportunities. I want to get more leads. I want to grow my business. It's an organic way, right? How to grow and also to get, goodwill for your brand and for yourself by appearing in front of thousands and thousands of people through podcasts, through virtual events. But then eventually, what's going to happen in 6 months' time? What's going to happen in 12 months' time when you don't have anyone that is holding you accountable to this? So I have to get the system going and to have someone who can help you refine and help you to get leads and help you to get the system in place and tweak it and keep it going. It's like a wheel, you keep it going. I love that. I love that. Anything else that you recommend for someone who's looking to grow their business via speaking? Any other tips that you want to share maybe before we wrap this up?
The thing that I'd love to share is that there is a speaking gig for anyone that's listening right now, and you could find it and apply for it, or even have it confirmed within the next week. So if it is an event with a date, a speaker deadline out in the future, maybe you're not going to hear from that one in a week, but you could apply for that opportunity. And there are so many opportunities out there that you really could. And if you get specific about what you're looking for, go and find the call for speaker hashtag. Google RFP speakers, add your niche, your location, like go out there and see what's possible. And if you don't find a speaking gig for your area of expertise, I personally challenge anyone in your audience, and if they don't find a speaking opportunity, get in touch with me and I'm going to find you one because there are so many out there. I'm certain that there's one for you, anyone in your audience as well.
Challenge accepted. Let's go get some speaking gigs booked. So yeah, I will wrap this up. I really would like to thank you for all the tips and all the insights that you have provided us with today. I'm pretty sure that our audience is gonna love this and they are gonna accept your challenge and go get some speaking gigs booked. Thank you for your time, Bri.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.